mentality has left a mark. Shout out to the NBA legend, Kobe, and your daughter, Gigi. From Tom Brady to Drew Bledsoe. Rain, sleet, or snow, I grind. I am clutch. I am the difference maker.
Clip it. Let's go.
I am the game changer.
Thank you guys for joining us on another episode of the Game Changers live on the Right Way Sports Network's YouTube channel. I'm your host, CEO of the Right Way Sports Network, Malik Wright, joined with my co-host, Alex Sagini, the boy from Mississippi, and Mr. Cody Rear. Cody, what is going on? Alex, what is going on? Are you guys excited as I am to be back or what?
I tell you what, I enjoy vacation. I'm a big vacation guy, big vacation advocate. I should probably take more of them, but I kind of miss you guys. I kind of miss talking sports. We missed a big week. We had the NBA Finals, kickoff to the Olympics. We got a lot to talk about.
Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff to talk about.
The 1 week off, it felt like there were so many things to talk about. I was like, I kept on thinking like, I can make this point this week. But then I remember like, well, we're not having a show this week. But yeah, I'm glad to be back, ready to go.
Get some energy going with you, Alex. Let's go. I know the man said, I just got off work. I'm tired and blah, 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 blah. But we're back. We're black in full effect. And I said we're black in full effect.
That's not a we thing, Malik. That is not a we thing.
It's a me thing. It's a me thing. It's a me thing. No, guys, what a way to start the show. We do have a lot to talk about today, guys. But make sure you guys go download the TWSM mobile app. Got a lot of guys who do a lot of great work. They write some awesome articles, come out with a lot of awesome content, whether it be draft-related stuff or getting you geared up for your favorite season, whether that be NBA, NFL. We got it all covered here at TWSN. And subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Daily live videos each and every single day. And we've got also other videos coming out each and every single day. With that being said, guys, we're going to jump right into it. I'm going to start it off in the Olympics. Simone Biles, she had an early exit. You know, a lot of people thought at first it was due to injuries and stuff like that. It actually turned out to be due to mental health reasons. It's right on cue because one of our guys here at TWSN, Matt Levine, he just wrote an awesome article about players' mental health. And I feel like that's something that's not talked about enough, the mental health of athletes, of professional athletes. Guys, what are your thoughts on it? Alex, let's start with you.
You know, this is tricky. I just hate how everything has to be so polarizing. Why is this a polarizing issue? Do I think Simone Biles is a coward? No, not at all. It's not even close. Do I think she's the biggest hero in the world? Also, no. Like, I don't think things have to be on two extremes. She's a human. She was going through her own things, and she decided to bow out of it. Nothing. There's no problem with that. She can do what she wants to do. She's her own woman, and it's not our decision to make there and she don't want to do some stuff today. So now things are so polarized constantly. Why can't we all just accept she's human? She's going to do what she wants to do.
What do you mean? Athletes are human? What do you mean by
crazy
that?
Concept,
Athletes are
right?
human? That's a crazy concept.
Exactly.
I saw some jackass on Twitter say earlier today, Michael Jordan would never. Michael Jordan also didn't play in a social media driven era. Michael Jordan also didn't have to deal with kids being stupid, excuse my French, but kids being stupid saying ratio and common W and common L in the comment section. It's absolutely asinine and stupid the way we treat some of these athletes. So people are like, oh, KD's soft or this person's soft. Do you know what the first thing a player does, right? Think about it. Let's talk about it for a second. A player, they play football, they play basketball, they play basketball, blah, 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 blah. And you know, at the college level, right? They're not really able to engage that much on social media because I think I'm pretty sure it's against, you know, school and NCAA rules and all that kind of stuff. They can actually get in trouble for that, so they don't do it. But the first thing players do when they have a big play or they score a big, you know, touchdown or a go ahead bucket or whatever the case may be, they go on social media afterwards so they can repost it on their stories, right? Now, they don't look at all the comments and stuff like that because people, let's be real, we're much harder on professional athletes than we are college level athletes. Well, take that same concept, right? A player, plays at a professional level. He scores a touchdown, scores a great basket, or the case may be. The first thing he does after his game is he goes on social media. He goes on social media to see what people are saying about him. He goes on social media to see if people, are reposting that video of the touchdown he scored or the amazing first down play he made because, wow, it's such a big moment to be in this spot, right? So then you look down in your comment section and you got somebody saying L or ratio or whatever the stupid stuff that people say nowadays is. To me, I think that it's hard to be an athlete in today's day and age. I can understand why a guy like KD feels the need to, constantly defend himself on social media. Now, you may say you're just a loser, whatever the case may be. I don't look at it that way. I understand where they're coming from. I'm sorry for that long-winded response, but I always feel passionate about the way people, players are treated on social media.
Yeah, here's the deal, right? Like, mental health is important, right? We saw this with Naomi Osaka earlier this year, right? She bowed out of, I don't know if it was Wimbledon or whatever the tennis tournament is, one of the majors. And it should have the same response, right? Now, the Olympics is a bigger stage, right? Once every 4 years, you were playing in front of the entire world. Mm-hmm. I do have, if you're going to go out there with a goat on your leotard and you're going to talk that shit, you do kind of have to back it up, right? I understand why some people are upset. That being said, if this were to have been a physical injury, nobody would be harping on her. You know what I mean? Like if she would have rolled an ankle, twisted something, like if it were to be a physical ordeal, nobody would have a problem with it. She was hurt, missed time, right? Like mental health needs to be treated the same way. Now, does it optically look bad because of the GOAT comments and because she's in every other commercial you see on TV during the Olympics? Yes, optically it doesn't look great. But at the same time, that's her decision. She made it, right? And I'm sure she had input from her coaches and teammates and everything else when she made that decision. Mm-hmm. That's fine. It is what it is. What are we going to do? People don't tell me how to do my job. I'm not going to tell her how to do hers, right? If she made the decision that she wanted to sit out, that's fine.
Let's also talk about it. She's a GOAT. She's a young GOAT. Look, she's the woman who won championships and medals with broken foots and things of that nature, and people are ridiculing her because she decided to take a timeout because of mental health reasons. So it's a piss poor excuse. Listen, even some of the most mentally strong athletes, I'm sure they've got to see it. They got to deal with the trolls. One of my favorite videos is LeBron James talking on the shop about how he deals with trolls, essentially, and how he sees it, and how he pretty much just says, why would I care what pretty much about what you're saying about me, right? I'm doing this, I'm doing that. I got so much going for me. You clearly don't have a lot going for you if you feel that necessary to have what's it called, a burner account. Or you got an account where you don't even show your face, and the first thing you do is you want to go under an athlete's profile and just talk crap. Your life must be really miserable. Sorry for those of you who are listening who have burner accounts and do that. But the message is directed at you.
Loudest people always come from the nosebleeds. It is what it is, right? The people in the cheap seats are always the ones yelling. And if I were in the Olympics, well, that's great. You're not, pal. The amount of tweets that I've seen is like, well, if I were in that situation, you never will be. And nobody probably ever will be in the same situation as Simone Biles, because she is arguably, it's hard to argue that she isn't the greatest to ever do it in gymnastics. So I understand why people are upset. I just think that if you're going to personally attack an athlete for their play or their performance or whatever, that's bullshit. That is something internal that you have to look at. She made that decision internal. You need to look internal and be like, look, she made her decision. That's fine. I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, it's a sport. You know what I mean? If something were to come out that, Simone Biles was really going through some stuff, a lot of people on the internet would be real regretful about the stuff that they've posted.
We never know what a person's going through in their everyday life. We never know what So it's important to just, in the words of Ellen DeGeneres, just be nice, be kind to one another, treat everyone with respect as much as you can. I mean, I understand there's some people you just can't respect in life. I have those, but you got to keep pressing forward. Does anybody else have anything else to add to this before we move on? Okay. USA basketball, Cody, I know you want to touch on this, but they're struggling right now. I know they just blew Iran out today by 54 points, so it seems like they're getting it together. Well, what are your thoughts on it? I don't really have too many thoughts on USA Today basketball struggle, because I'll tell you this: I don't think it's necessarily USA basket. I don't think it's like basketball. I don't think that we suck so much. I think the world is getting better, to be completely honest with you. I think the world is catching up. I think the days of us just going into the Olympics and just running over teams are long over. So credit to the world, right? And credit to the U.S., credit to the National Basketball Association, right? They made this. They truly are. It really is a worldwide league. I know the NFL is trying to get there, and they're trying to bring players from different countries over. But credit to the National Basketball Association. They truly are a worldwide league. Some of the best players in the league aren't even from America. Guys like Luka, right? Who's the MVP this year? I'm drawing a blank on his name right now for some reason.
Giannis.
Yeah, Reggie, I'm sorry. You know why I messed up and I said USA Today basketball, but oh man, yeah, I don't know if anybody caught that, but you.
I love that.
I'm just gonna shut up. I'm gonna shut up now.
Look, here's the deal. The U.S. we are facing a battle on two fronts from a basketball standpoint. Our team this is not the best team that we've put together. And at the same time, I think there are kind of some issues with how they built the team. There are a lot of on-ball scorers and ball-dominant players in this lineup that I don't think do a phenomenal job of playing team basketball, right? So I don't think the construction of the team is built for this type of play. The other thing is the world is absolutely getting better. I mean, if you look at the international basketball players in the NBA and around the world, the level of basketball has tremendously improved in the last 20 years worldwide. And that is absolutely a testament to the NBA and what that organization has done in order to grow the game. And you've seen it in commercials and all sorts of media that the NBA puts out trying to grow the game of basketball. And they've succeeded. I mean, the game of basketball is in a better place now than it's ever been. I think they also are running into some issues where there is some discrepancy in how the NBA game is played versus how the international game is played. It's absolutely officiated differently. And you could tell where some NBA players jumping into people and trying to draw fouls, it doesn't fly the same in the international game. So it's interesting to see the players adapt to these rules. But look, the USA, if they're going to win gold, they're going to have their work cut out for them, right? Like the international game is in as good a spot as it's ever been. They're going to have to step up to compete.
We're not that team. Trust me. We're not that
We're
team.
not that team.
We're not that team.
Like the biggest thing is, Cody, I mean, we talked about this 2 weeks ago on our last show, right? The USA, we're talking about maybe it was just preseason struggles, right? We're saying, oh, it's not the real Olympics. Well, now they're there. Dame Lillard said something hilarious. He said, Evan Fournier, he's not like this in the NBA. He's not normally like this. And I don't know if it's these players stepping up or the USA players stepping down, but regardless, USA, I was about to say USA Today again, they have the work cut out for them. And I don't know, like you got teams like France, right? These are NBA players playing on the opposing teams. These aren't some scrubs. They're not bums. They're actual NBA players. They're actual professional basketball players. So USA, Greg Popovich has got to get the guys together. You got to get them to mesh. So I don't know. It's kind of concerning seeing them lose 3 out of their last 4 games besides the Iran game today or yesterday, whenever it was. But I still have my faith in this team, so hopefully they can turn it around.
I think you guys, I think there's still a little overreaction. Look, obviously, like you guys said, the world is getting much, much better. But I still have no doubts. They're having to play a little bit of a different brand of basketball right now, but they're going to turn it on. USA's winning that gold yet again.
Alex, but
Sound
there
like the
isn't
most
no
American guy I know. Sound like the most, listen, I don't know how, guys. I don't know where, but I'm gonna tell you. You know, the USA today is just gonna
Look,
find a
they
way
got to
to
get better.
The
They gotta get
USA
better.
today, Malik. If you say I don't think you could say USA and today separately now. I think you just combine them as one word. It's honestly
Oh
unbelievable.
man, I've never had this many miscues in a show since I started, but I'm doing it today.
Alex, the biggest thing, this is an overreaction. You can't lose
That's
before
true.
you get to Tokyo, and then you can't lose at Tokyo to France. You can't lose 3 out of your last 4 games. That's not an
You guys are making
overreaction. That's an
great
actual
points.
fact. That's what happened. This team, they're not going to, like, an overreaction would be, oh, they completely blow every single team out of the water starting now. That's not going to happen. They're going to play a lot of close games, and who knows, they might not even win the gold. If they were to, from here on out, not lose a single game and look completely overpowering, then maybe we can say it was an overreaction. But you can't now. You can't right now.
Yeah, I do agree. I agree with what Matt just said. Most definitely. I think that it seems like the other countries have a little bit more pride than the USA team does. It really does. I don't know why that is, but it seems like to me when I'm watching, it's a big difference in the pride and the really like the effort is the effort almost looks so much better on those. Like, you know, when you're watching the NBA and there's a team that's a lot more talented, but the less talented team is just crashing every board, playing hard defense, just constantly over and over again. And then that less talented team wins. I think that's happening a lot. But I think that the USA team has been slapped in the face one too many times. Look, they said before their excuse was, oh, it's not the real thing. Then they lost the real thing. Maybe now they got slapped in their face like, okay, wait, we're actually going to have to try. We're actually going to have to put forth a lot of effort to win these games.
Yeah, I think it kind of comes down to the expectations, right? No team, no international team right now has the same expectations that the United States does for a basketball standpoint, right? So the pressure is absolutely like they are expected to win. And not only are they expected to win, they're expected to win handedly. So when you come in, I think that can kind of get into people's minds a little bit. And unfortunately, that's just kind of, it showed itself on the court a little bit. So we'll see how it plays out. I believe they play at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning, right? So we'll see how that goes with, hopefully they can pull it out.
All right. 17-year-old wins from Alaska wins swimming gold. What you guys' thoughts on that was? Listen, it's not surprising me. I asked you a question. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting, Cody. I know you're about to go. I just want to say something. It's not surprising to me that so many young people are starting to, insert themselves in the Olympic conversation and win championships. I remember when I was managing a gym, this young girl, she had to be about 9 years old. And she was training with someone already. She does gymnastics, and her whole goal was to go to the Olympics. Like she's been training for that since she was she was a child already, but she was 12 years old. She said she's been training since she was 6 years old. It's insane. It's insane to me, but I also think it's cool. I think it's cool that someone has that type of dedication, that type of commitment. I also do wonder, like, does that make your childhood kind of weird because you're literally focused on working out like 24/7? It's kind of strange. I don't know.
I have two things on this, on the young guy winning the gold. The first thing is, wow, I hate the fact that I'm getting older, because when I was a little kid, I could look up to these athletes that are old, and that's the reason they're so much more athletic and more successful than me. But now I'm like, I'm older than this guy, and he's winning gold in the Olympics. Like,
how does that make you feel?
That stings a little bit more now that I'm getting. Yeah, it does not feel good.
I think it's almost
scary. The second thing is, I don't know much about geography at all, but where was this dude swimming in Alaska? He had to be in some indoor pools, right? He would die if he tried to swim in outside in Alaska. He had to be training in some indoor pools.
So I hate to break it to you, Alex, but I think most Olympic swimming is probably done indoors. I know in Mississippi they probably do a lot of swimming.
No, but how did he get into swimming?
That's a story that I do not know enough about from how she got started. But Lydia Jacoby taking home the gold in the 100-meter breaststroke as a 17-year-old is really, really cool. And these are some of my favorite stories from the Olympics, right? Like seeing young people absolutely go out, shatter expectations, right? She was not favored to win the gold, but she did an incredible job. And I think it's kind of why I watch the Olympics, is for moments like this, right? Don't get me wrong. I love seeing dominance at its peak. The Michael Phelps years were incredible, right? The USA basketball dominance in the 2000s was great. I love watching it. But stories like this are what makes sports so great. So to see a 17-year-old girl go out there and just absolutely crush expectations, it's really cool to see, especially, coming from Alaska, you don't think of as a sports powerhouse. So wow, only one near Olympic-sized pool in all of Alaska.
Nader, how do you know that? How do you know that?
See, and this is why the team at TWSN is absolutely better than everywhere else. And that is because
and that's why
Nader's pulling out facts
because of Nader. No, but that's why I can resonate with what he says, young people taking over and stuff like that, because it sounds a little similar. Sounds a little, I don't know, familiar to me. I don't know. Anyway, we can get used to it. Guys, this wasn't really on the itinerary, but I want to touch on it really quickly because I forgot to mention it to you guys, but I'm sure we all have an opinion on it. I want to pull something up really quickly. Conor McGregor made some comments earlier this week. Khabib, after the whole situation with Dustin Poirier, Conor McGregor came out and he put out a tweet. It says, good always defeats evil. Very happy for Dustin Poirier. Hope you will, get the belt at the end of the year. Conor McGregor took a little bit to respond, but he finally responded, and he says, COVID is good and your father is evil. Basically alluding to the fact, for those of you who don't know, Khabib Nurmagomedov's father passed away due to COVID complications last year. Before that, it was, Conor even put some tweets out before then talking about how they felt like he was staging his father being sick because he didn't want to fight him. And I know it was a big uproar, and then people are doing what they usually do. It's an uproar. People are like, can't believe Conor is a jerk. Can't believe Conor is being a dickhead. And then everyone forgets, and then it blows over, and then he does something else. So guys, what are your what are your thoughts on this, right? They're selling a fight, and then there's being what this is, whatever the hell this is. But here's my problem with that. Usually I would be like, you know what? Conor's just being Conor. Conor's just trying to angle for a fight. Conor's just trying to, promote a fight, or promote whatever. There's no fight to promote. Khabib's not coming out of retirement to fight you.
No.
Dog, your ankle is shattered. You can't even work out. You can't even walk yet. What was the reasoning behind this? What what was the actual reasoning behind thinking, you know what? Today I'm gonna go on Twitter and mock Khabib Nurmagomedov's father's passing. Today just seems like a great day to do that. Like, what type of low life, what type of insecure, depressed billionaire or a millionaire, whatever he is, do you have to be to just wake up and choose violence? Like, I wake up and I choose violence before I step on the show, but it's a different type of violence. It's me proving that I'm that guy. I am that guy. He wakes up to choose violence to just absolutely be a dickwad. So I just want to hear what your guys' opinion on it. Alex, I'm going to start with you. What are your thoughts on the Conor McGregor situation? And after Alex, you guys can go according.
There's one word to describe it, and it's sad. Conor McGregor, the guy that we once knew as the biggest thing in combat sports, he was everything. He was mowing down all the competition. Mm-hmm. He was selling all the pay-per-views. Now is trying to grasp at something to be relevant at, because he is no longer an elite fighter. He can no longer fight with the elite level guys. So now he's doing insane things like, and look, I almost say there's not a line. Like, I'm cool with fighters going really far, really crossing that line. But this is just I just saw that comment. But this is way over the line. Like, Khabib literally destroyed you. Like, had you basically begging in the cage, and now you're gonna come back and try to just poke more fun at him. Conor McGregor is insecure, is what it is. He's insecure because he's lost in the last few fights, not counting Cowboy, who's not really a win if we're being real. So he's extremely insecure because he's no longer that guy anymore, and now he knows it. He just lost to Dustin. Sure, he got his leg broke. He was going to lose anyway. His leg getting broke was the best thing that ever happened to Connor, so that he could use that as a crutch. Oh, this is why I lost. And now he's grasping at anything. It's extremely sad because this is coming from the biggest Connor fan at one point. He was my favorite fighter. I'm starting to lose a ton of respect because he doesn't understand it's probably time to hang it up. And instead, he's doing these crazy, outrageous, stupid things for clout.
I don't agree with you, though. I don't think it's time for him to hang it up. I think Conor McGregor has a lot to give. I think the fact is Conor McGregor is that guy, like he says, I once was the hungry cat, but now I'm the fat cat, right? That's what he said in one of his interviews. I think Conor McGregor is having a hard time trying to channel being that guy again. I forgot who said it, but a boxer said it a long time ago. It's easier to get up and train when you don't have anything and wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and train and run and do all those things that you can do because you're trying to make you're trying to make a better life for your family. You're trying to make a better life for yourself. It's harder to do that when you walk out of get out of bed and you see Versace, you see your mink coat, you see your glasses, you see your shades, you look outside your house, you have a car for every day of the week that whatever you want to drive. It's a little bit harder. And I think the type of guy Conor is mentally, he still sees himself there, but physically he doesn't put in the work that is necessary. I remember the lead up to Habib's fight. People, there were some fighters that I know and stuff like that, much lower levels, but they were saying apparently that the dude wasn't even really training. He was just literally going in the gym, taking pictures. You know how he does the whole mean mugs before the fights and all that kind of stuff, just like hyping it up and then posting pictures pretty much on the internet to hype up the fight. But he really wasn't training. He really wasn't in the gym working as hard. I'm sure he would hit the bag and stuff like that, but he really wasn't dedicating his time to it. So it's just, I think there's a disconnect with him. Like he just put out a tweet earlier today. Have the belt spit shine for me for when I get back. Dog, what? What's like? Are you gonna fight a featherweight? You're gonna fight a featherweight? Because I don't know if you're touching. I don't know if you're touching the lightweight championship anytime soon. That's just me. Somebody else can talk about it though.
Yeah, like in life, you need villains, right? And that's why I've always been a huge Conor McGregor fan. You need villains. You need those guys that are going to push the boundary. Get out of their comfort zone, cross those lines. But this is different, right? This isn't this, like as Malik was saying, take away Conor from a competitive standpoint. Let's not even talk about him in the cage. Let's talk about him as a person. That's something even after this Dustin fight, right? While you're laying down, you're still talking the trash, and you're not even just talking about Dustin. You're talking about his wife. You're talking about killing. You're talking about murder, right? He said, "Oh, in your sleep." That's different. And Nader put up a comment about him. He's trying to prove something to himself. I think that's the biggest thing, right? It's not about proving it to other people, saying, hey, I'm the lightweight champion. I should be this. He's trying to tell himself. He's trying to look at himself in the mirror. So I don't know, man. It's kind of sad. I've been a huge Conor fan, but this is something where you don't attack people personally like that. So I don't know. I hope that Conor, because I feel like he's in a rough spot in his life right now. I hope he can turn this around because I don't want to see this type of Conor in his next fight. I don't want to see this type of Conor in 2 fights. This isn't the Conor we want to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's plain and simple, and you see it all throughout the comments, and we appreciate you guys who are tuning in live and interacting with the show. It really means the world to us. But you guys said it best, and that's he crossed the line, right? Like that, there's a line, and there's absolutely, like, Conor has been able to push the line his entire career, and it's because he's one of the best to ever do it. But at the same time, you can't cross it. You can push it all you want. You can't cross it. And he crossed it. Those comments are absolutely uncalled for. And I think he lost some fans. And as unfortunate as that is, I mean, I'm sure he can afford to lose some. He's one of the biggest fighters, if not the biggest fighter in the history of the UFC. He lost some fans. He lost a fan in me. That's some bullshit. There's no excuse for attacking somebody's family in that manner, especially somebody deceased. So it is what it is. He's going to have a lot to back up the next time he steps into the ring. So,
Absolutely.
And I'm sure we're all anticipating it.
100%. We're going to have a lot to talk about, a lot of stuff. Guys, now for the fun stuff. I'll touch on it really, really briefly. Let's talk college real quick. Oklahoma, Texas attempted to join the SEC. My guy, Jay. Jay, where you been, man? That's my guy Juan. He taught me a lot of the rules to the game. He's the one that taught me the saying you guys saw me put out on a tweet earlier this week. Chins don't do push-ups. That is my big brother. That is my guy. Yeah. So Oklahoma, Texas, attempting to join the SEC 2025, I believe, in the year 2025.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on it, guys? Do you think this is a good move? What do you make of the move? Alex, we'll start with you. I know you're a big-time college football fan. You're Mississippi everything. So go ahead.
It's extremely sad. This is an awful move for the bulk of college football. If you're a fan of a team in one of the big four conferences now, who cares? They're going to be put on a higher pedestal than they once were. But I think this is the beginning of the end for a lot of things that we know and love, like March Madness. Like this is what I'm saying when I say I think this is going to eventually break off. And there's going to be two different college football. Like right now, there's Division I FCS, Division II. Like a FCS team can't play in the playoffs. It's about to be that way with about 40 to 50 teams, and then it's going to be everyone else. And they're going to be in two separate brackets, two separate playoffs and everything because the other teams just can't compete anymore. They can't, as these powerhouses just keep on uniting and getting bigger and bigger, like there's going to be like 15, 18, 20 team conferences. I don't know what's going to happen, but it's sad to the smaller schools. The smaller schools cannot sustain this. They're not getting any bids to these big conferences. That's going to give them millions upon millions of dollars that ESPN's paying for. And why does ESPN want to, or whatever TV deal, why do they want to pay these smaller schools now? They don't, because they have four conferences. They can just pay these four conferences and get all the big money. It's a sad moment because now it's going to turn into Group of Five. For anyone who doesn't know, Group of Five, it's the smaller five conferences. Now the Big 12 is one of them, so it's Group of Six. And it's just going to diminish their value that's already so diminished. The reason why teams like Cincinnati and BYU already can't get into the college football playoff, even though they're great, it's just going to it's going to diminish them even more, and it's going to prop up the teams that are already big. The rich get richer.
I mean, it's business, right? It's a business. And the Longhorn Network has been a staple of Texas sports for a long time. And with their TV rights coming to an end in 2025, Texas and Oklahoma saw an opportunity. They said, look, if we can go to the SEC, get on SEC Network and ESPN and all these primetime games, we are absolutely going to make more money. And that at the end of the day, college football, like, yes, it's a college sport and it's about the schools and the tradition and the history, but above all else, it's about money. And that it is what it is. And the first thing I want to address is people who are saying Texas can't compete because they can't even win their own conference. When you get into the SEC, that is different. It's different for two reasons. One, people want to say that they played in the SEC. It produces NFL athletes, and very, very readily. And the other thing is Texas A&M went to the SEC, and they're doing just fine. That region of the country has better athletes than any other region in the country. And if you include Texas in that, right, you are now hitting the greatest recruiting pool in the country. That Florida, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Texas ring is better than anywhere in the nation. You now have access to those recruits who know that they are going to be playing games in their home state. They're going to be playing in LSU.
Wow.
They're going to be playing in Baton Rouge.
The Yankees traded for Joey Gallo.
So do we want to pause? Because that's kind of a big trade.
That is a big trade. I'm not going to sit up here and act like I'm a huge baseball head, but I do know who Joey Gallo is, and I do know that is a huge trade. That is a huge deal. If anybody wants to weigh in on that really quickly, they can.
I mean, the Yankees have needed a left-handed bat, and Gallo has been one of the best power hitters this season. The dude has been in absolutely crushing home runs. Yankee fans should absolutely be excited. It now makes sense, the trade that they did with the Reds, to kind of clear up some roster spots there. They traded two pitchers to the Reds organization. Gallo's in the home run derby, and granted, he didn't show out there, but he's been showing out the first half of the season. He's going to be a free agent next offseason, so this is absolutely a push. The Yankees, trying to push to make a run here and now. We'll see, man. The baseball's always better when the Yankees are involved, being the powerhouse of Major League Baseball. The rich get richer. They just got an absolute slugger.
So your phone's probably blowing up right now. People are like, oh my God, Joey Gallo just got traded. People are running to you to tell you the breaking news, my man.
Bro, Twitter is exploding.
Isn't it? I'm right. Damn, why they had to make the trade during the show, right? But anyway,
content,
content, right? More content. Competition going, guys. The Bucks. We were not here last week. We obviously, unfortunately, right? We wanted to be here so badly with you guys, but we had the week off. The Bucks, Giannis Antetokounmpo, they won the NBA championship. And
do you remember that there was the last show I did this little thing where I talked about how special Giannis was and how he was physically taking over games in the way that nobody else in the NBA could, and he was doing things that we thought were special, and that he was doing things that we had never seen before. And you guys, it's not. LeBron can take over games that way, and Steph can take over games that way. And I said yes, but nobody's doing it the way that Giannis is doing it at the highest level. And then he did it in quite possibly the biggest finals performance of all time.
Cody, here's what I think. Cody, here's where. Cody,
Malik, just let me be right for once, man.
Okay. Listen. I will give you your flowers. I will say you were correct. But in my book, right, we're even. You and me, brother, we're even.
Trading blows.
I was right about the Bucks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and you were right about the Bucks, the Milwaukee Bucks. So it must be something about those Bucks that keep us, have us keep getting tied up with one another. But I don't think I think what you don't understand, right, is I'm agreeing with you. The fact is, nobody was playing at that high of a level as Giannis was because everybody else was home. That's the only thing I was trying to say.
It don't matter there is nobody in the NBA this season who was doing what Giannis was doing. Nobody.
Wait.
Nobody was doing what Giannis was doing out there.
So listen, let's get back down to the meat and potatoes. Let's get back down to the actual nitty-gritty of it. This is not to say Giannis Antetokounmpo isn't playing at an elite level. This is not to say Giannis Antetokounmpo wasn't the best player in the NBA playoffs. This is not to say any of that. The argument came down to you made it seem as if we're talking about game one, the first game of the NBA season this year coming up, the way you were speaking was as if to say that there's nobody in the NBA that can dominate a game like Giannis Antetokounmpo did.
The way that Giannis Antetokounmpo did.
There
are guys who can absolutely. I know that's what makes him so great to watch.
So what are we talking about here? Because Steph Curry, I could say Giannis Antetokounmpo can't dominate a game like Steph Curry.
Correct.
Is that wrong?
No, you were correct. I'm just saying what he did was special, I'm glad the world got to see it.
The way you were speaking was almost as if to say that Giannis is the most dominant player that we've ever. There's different ways to dominate a game, right? There's different ways. You could dominate a game defensively. You could be like Rudy Gobert and dominate a game defensively, right? You could be like Steph Curry and dominate a game from the three-point line just from being a pure scorer. You could be like a LeBron James and dominate a game by making your players around you better. There's no right or wrong way to dominate a game. But the fact of the matter is the reason why before we crown him, because I felt like that's what a lot of people wanted to do. I felt like a lot of people wanted to crown Giannis. I even heard people saying, just a kid from I was like, whoa. Let's give him his own thing. Listen, he's got a long way to go before he's up there with LeBron James. He's got a long way to go. Do I think when it's all said and done, Giannis Antetokounmpo will be regarded as one of the best to ever, put on a jersey? Absolutely. And there's no shame if he never reaches the pinnacle of LeBron James. But that's the beautiful thing about records, right? I think that's what separates us from our parents' generation and the other generation after that. Like, we can let go and be like, okay, some of us can at least still and say, even though some people have never seen Michael Jordan play, some of us can admit LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time. Our parents will be like, no. But if Giannis Antetokounmpo comes around and passes LeBron, you won't hear an argument from me. You won't hear me say, no, LeBron is like, no. Like, you won't hear me say it. Giannis Antetokounmpo did something that not a lot of people do, right? In his first finals appearance, he won a championship. So he's already got that going for him. If he keeps it up, just keep on stacking year after year after year after year. All I'm trying to say is that there are still some guys in the NBA that still play at an elite level, that still dominate a game. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't expect
Fair.
Steph Curry to dominate a game like Giannis Antetokounmpo because he doesn't have the body type of Giannis Antetokounmpo.
I agree. It's what makes Giannis special. He's special.
But-
and I love that he was able to overcome whatever was getting him at the free throw line. That was honestly the most impressive part of a 15-point, 14 rebound, 5 block game was his free throw shooting. 17 for 19. That was incredible.
Whoever told him at the start of the year, like, oh my God, man, I got something for you that's gonna change your game forever. Yo, change your free throw throwing motion at the line. Just change it up. Promise you, it's the greatest thing to happen to you. Whoever said that, he needs to stop working with him ASAP. Like ASAP. Because that was an awful suggestion.
Yeah, but at the same time, this postseason, he's still been bad. He's only been shooting 60% from the line. So that's what I was watching this game. Like, let's say if he shot his normal percentage, they lose that game. They lose game 6.
Yes, he does.
And that's what's crazy about it because I'm watching this game. I'm like, all right, he's 10 for 11. He's 13 for 14. Oh, my. Is he ever going to miss? The guy didn't miss. And Cody, I don't know how the hell he overcame that in one game because even the rest of the series, he was still shooting his regular percentage. But when they needed him the most, he stepped up, especially at the free throw line. I don't know how the hell he did it, but you got to give him his props, right? Trust me, I was extremely critical of him. I was saying he can't win as the number 1. I didn't think so because I was like, you need that guy to close it in the fourth quarter. Granted, Chris Middleton did have some huge shots all postseason long, but Giannis is the one who took them there. Giannis is the one who got him there. You can compare him to the Shaq and Kobe. He was their dominant guy. He was the engine of that team. Give him props. And I don't want to hear, injuries. LeBron didn't have AD. Kevin Durant. He won a damn championship. He won a damn championship.
I don't think anybody's saying that. I don't think anybody said that.
People heading into this,
okay.
and you'll see this even next year, right? Let's say if he gets knocked out in the first round by a Nets team, they're gonna be, maybe that championship. Okay, he can't do that year over year.
Well, it's gonna happen regardless.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Regardless, happens to every single athlete. People are gonna nitpick. That's the thing about beauty. That's the beauty thing about sports. Like people are gonna nitpick every accomplishment you ever make. So it's not a thing about is it gonna happen or not. It's gonna happen. It's what sports is. Is what people have to deal with on a consistent basis. Oh well, guess what? Prove that's what you got to do. You got to shut the haters out and do it again. Yeah, you got to keep doing it.
And it's still that was one of the most memorable finals of my lifetime. Like that, it was awesome. It was awesome, and that I love when it's like when you watch an elite show, and then the show finale lives up to the hype, right? Like
The Sopranos.
Right. This series, the NBA season this year did not have a Game of Thrones ending. It had a phenomenal.
That's what we're not going to do. We're not going to disrespect the second greatest television show of all time in the Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones had a fantastic ending. You know what I realized, Cody? People don't like the conclusion of things. People don't like the conclusion of things in life. And I think that the Game of Thrones Cody doesn't like my response right now. But I think that the Game of Thrones ending gave us such is he frozen? Oh, he's not frozen.
No, I'm not frozen. I'm just that disappointed. I was just that disappointed. We can have an outside conversation on the ending of Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. Whoa, Charlie, stop. Listen, The Sopranos. But you got to remember, I'm also from Jersey, right? A lot of my friends are Italian.
Inherently biased.
You know what I mean? I am very biased to The Sopranos. And I love Game of Thrones. In my opinion, and this is a little bit off topic, but that's the great thing about the show. We talk about everything. That's why it's Game Changers, right? We're not just going to talk about just one thing. But no, in my opinion, it's The Sopranos. It's Game of Thrones. And then everything else falls in line after that. Shows like Breaking Bad and,
Breaking Bad got to be up there somewhere.
Absolutely. Right. People don't like it, but I also even love The Office. The Office was amazing, in my opinion. I thought it was great how they, it's dry. It's my type of humor, in my opinion.
Either way, love a good ending. Love the finals this year. It was a great showing.
We have to clip that, by the way.
Yeah, bro. It's just gonna be is that dude frozen? But in all seriousness, it's really good to see an awesome finish. I know a lot of people weren't incredibly hyped for a smaller market, matchup. We haven't seen these teams compete for championships in, decades. Mm-hmm. So it was really cool. And I think it lived up to at least my expectations. It was really fun to watch.
I agree. I love it when small market teams break down the barriers. There are certain teams that weren't always, championship, looked at it on a championship level, teams like, this is going off topic for a second, but teams like the Seattle Seahawks, teams like the New England Patriots, those teams were not, great at all. And then it took the right coach, the right, system in place, and they turned the tide. And now I love seeing smaller market teams on the come up. So just my 2 cents. Anybody else got anything to add to that? Nobody else want to talk about Giannis? All right. Keeping it going. Football is back, guys. NFL is back. Diddy, stop. Stop. That bothered me. Stop. We're not going to do that.
Oh, man.
We're not going to do that. But the NFL season's back. Training camp is started up today, I believe, for all teams. I want to touch on something. You seen those wild videos of the Cowboys practice? Like, I'm pretty sure I've seen 2 videos where CeeDee Lamb could have got hurt. And I'm like, yo, this is why, you guys have weird injuries, by the time the season starts. Why is he doing one-handed catches? You guys not even wearing pads yet. He's trying to catch a pass. He's literally jumping over a fence and stuff. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing, bro? It's the first day of training camp. Chill. I understand you're excited. You're not even in Dallas. You're in California right now. What are you doing?
Malik, it feels so good to talk football, but you have to get the boys back hitting. I am always a big fan of good physical. There still can be some physicality had without pads. CeeDee Lamb made some incredible plays, and I'm sure they're plastered all over Twitter. I know I've seen a handful of them, but
can I ask you a question?
Go for it.
Would you rather him make that catch in the first day of scrimmage and training camp with no pads on, or would you rather him make that catch during the season when the game's on the line?
Why can't he do both?
Why?
Well, because when he falls down and breaks something during the
but
practice,
you can't introduce guys to contact day one. You can't introduce guys to contact, or I'm sorry, week 1 of the regular season can't be the first time that you introduce guys to contact, right? It is football. It's a violent sport. Injuries do happen. You practice how you play. I think part of the reason why injuries have gotten increased in football is because of poor practice habits from a standpoint of not practicing safe physical technique. Now, is guys going up and grabbing one-handed catches without pads ideal? Probably not. But at the same time, it's good to see guys get physical again to start a season. Cowboys aren't winning the Super Bowl anyway. It's fine.
It is, yeah. They're not even winning their division. But we want to keep the conversation going. Cam Akers, he tore his Achilles. Don't want to make too much about it just yet. It's a blow. It's a blow to the team. There's hope that he'll be back, obviously. But that's a hard-ass injury to come back from, tearing your Achilles.
As a running back, too, that's tough.
Yeah, and recent history is not kind to running backs who've torn their Achilles. Donta Foreman is a third-round pick for the Texans who tore his Achilles.
I remember him.
Played for Texas. He was good down there, but I believe he is out of the league now. He never quite made it back from that Achilles injury. A guy that I'm going to be watching this year, Marlon Mack, is not on the PUP to start camp. He tore his Achilles last year, so maybe that might be the new baseline for how we kind of judge these injuries. But injuries are my least favorite part of sports, always have been. So we'll see. The Rams have plenty of weapons on offense. I don't think they're going to be hurting for weapons. They do have Darrell Henderson out of Memphis. I believe he's a third-year guy now who should fill in that running back role. They'll be electric to watch. But
yeah.
Go.
You can go.
I was just going to say something to keep in mind when you're doing your fantasy drafts. We're getting to that season.
Cam Akers might have been the greatest Mississippi high school football player of all time at the quarterback position. He was throwing for a ton of yards and running for a ton of yards. That's just a fun fact a lot of people might not know.
I didn't know that.
I had no idea he played quarterback.
Neither did I. But most of these guys play quarterback. Let's be real. A lot of them play quarterback.
If he was a quarterback, McVay, what are we doing? Get him throwing. That would have been sick.
Right. Well, you didn't even need to trade for Matt Stafford. He could have been your guy.
I think he was just a quarterback more so they could get the ball to him quicker. He didn't have to worry about a handoff. He just got that down from the center and took off.
So I put out a report earlier this week about Deshaun Watson There are 3 teams interested in Deshaun Watson. There's actually 4 teams. The 4th team is very mild, Denver Broncos, and it doesn't seem like they're actually going to make a push for him. It's just pretty much doing due diligence. The other teams are the Eagles, the Dolphins, and the Washington football team. I could tell you right now, the team that has shown the most interest as updated as today, and this is the breaking news I was talking about, guys, has been the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles are all in on Deshaun Watson right now. They're doing the due diligence. Obviously, the hang up right now with Deshaun Watson is he going to be on the commissioner's exempt list to start the season? That's the goal. That's the question. Is he going to be on the commissioner's exempt list? How long? What am I trading for? That's what teams are asking themselves right now. What am I trading for? Am I trading for a guy that's going to have to miss the first, 8, 9 games? Or am I trading for a guy that I'm going to have starting week 1? Because if he's going to miss the first 8, 9 games, why don't I just trade for him at a later point? You know what I mean? Versus right now. So that's the situation at hand with Deshaun Watson. He showed up to practice because who doesn't want to, who wants to get fined 50 G's? Like, who wants to miss out on that kind of money? So it makes sense why he's showing up to practice. It makes sense why he's being there. But even though he's showing up to practice, they even said today, he was wearing his jersey, then he took it off. You know, he's trying to be there as much as possible without actually showing that he cares, because he doesn't care. He cares about keeping his money in his pocket, and he cares about, his next destination. He's trying to be a good professional, if that makes sense. What do you guys think? What do you guys think is next for Deshaun Watson? Where would you like to see him land?
I think Deshaun Watson might be a top 3 to 5 quarterback in the entire league. That's how high I am on this guy. I think if I was a team that even kind of needed a quarterback, if I had a decent guy, I'm still trading him away, getting Deshaun Watson. I don't even care if he's going to miss the first half of the game. Of course, hoping that all these allegations, he passes through them and he's not guilty of any of them. But if he's an innocent guy, then yeah, I want him. I don't care what it's going to take. When you have a chance to get a franchise guy, you send all the picks you want, all the players. I would keep on adding to the trade until the Texans accepted it. And I think that it is a great idea for the Eagles, and one that's going to make the Eagles run their division.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson, I saw somebody the other day. They said Deshaun Watson, if he doesn't play for a year, he might be washed up. He's only 26 years old. Deshaun Watson's only 26, and let's say he doesn't play for 8 weeks of the season, he is still going to be the same quarterback as he was last year. He'll obviously have a little bit of rust, but any team, as Alex said, that needs any type of quarterback should go after him. It's the report that Malik's talking about. Dolphins or Eagles, right? The Dolphins have way more going for them than the Eagles. The Eagles can put everything towards Deshaun Watson, because let's say the Dolphins don't get Deshaun Watson, they still have their whole team from last year that went 10-6. They still have Tua, who was a top first-round pick. Whereas the Eagles, Jalen Hurts isn't their guy, right? They're gonna test him out. He showed a little bit last year, but if you have the chance to go get Deshaun Watson, go get him. I'd love to see the Eagles go get him before this year, and I just pray from a football standpoint that we can see him on the field. You hope that everything off the field is all well with him, and if it's not, hopefully he can fix that. But I want to see him back on the field. I want to see him with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, if he's in the wrong, I hope that justice is served and he doesn't ever play another snap in the NFL. But to Liam's point, I want to touch on. Liam, it's in the Texans' best interest to trade him now. Right, that they get the maximum return on value. You don't want damaged goods, right? You don't want damaged goods. And the fact of the matter is, there's no benefit in waiting, playing the waiting game as weeks and weeks and weeks. If they're going to do this thing, they'd rather do it now, where, before things. But to be real with you, from what it sounds like, it doesn't sound like the NFL is. It doesn't sound like he's going to start the season in the commissioner's exempt list. Because of the, and again, I want to get more information about this, but I know that these allegations that are being brought on to him, it's all coming down to the settlement. I think the last thing I heard about it was essentially Deshaun Watson wants the amount of settlement money disclosed, because he wants to show them that he's being extorted. Now, is that the truth? I have no idea, and I'm not going to play devil's advocate. I'm not going to take one side or the other, but I'm just displaying the facts, because that's what we do here at TWSN. And what I was told was essentially he pretty much wants to tell his truth. He wants people to know how much money is being asked of him, and then he wants to also provide the facts, because he's been weirdly quiet on this entire situation. He's been letting his lawyer and his defense team, do most of the background work, but he wants to show people, hey, is this about money or is this about me getting, justice being served? Either way, look at it. If he's in the wrong, I hope that he never takes another snap in the NFL. I hope he gets banished from the NFL. But and then the same goes in his defense. If he's in the right, I hope that he pursues the fullest extent on the law, because I think there should be something said for people who make false allegations as well. I will say the same thing I said to Cody back when it was just him and I on the show.
Yep.
I find it very weird that you have 50 masseuses, because my buddy asked me back when this thing was at the height of it, how many barbers do you have? I said, 1. I said, exactly. So.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing here, right? Is it all falls into that legal standpoint. I would love to see him on the Washington football team personally. I think they have the most electric offense out of anybody in that group. Terry McLaurin is absolutely going to ball out this year, even with Ryan Fitzpatrick as his quarterback. I think Curtis Samuel's fun. And they drafted De'Ami Brown.
Just fun.
He's fun. He's a fun piece. He's not like, don't get me wrong, he's not like a game-breaking talent, but he's a piece that can be utilized all over the field. So he is fun.
Curtis can be a game-breaking talent.
I think we have different
number one on that team. I mean, Terry McLaurin is well above.
Yeah, no, he's good, but Curtis Samuel's very good too. But look at the quarterback play he's had to deal with.
That's true. That is true. But that being said, right, De'Ami Brown, Antonio Gibson, Logan Thomas, like that would be a very fun offense to be a part of. Should be a high-scoring offense this year. You add Deshaun Watson to that, it should be absolutely electric. So I would love to see him play for the Redskins. I think if you were a buying team, you buy now. This is absolutely the time to buy, because his value, if he's innocent, only goes up.
He said, you buy now.
Only goes up. Like I don't think you would have the ability to trade for Deshaun Watson unless he went out and said, like, look, there is no chance that I am going to play for the Texans, and he, threatens retirement in the same way that Aaron Rodgers or Carson Palmer have in, the recent years. But that it is what it is, right? Like this, I think you could get him for 2 first-round picks and like some decent young talent, and I think the Texans would almost have to accept it. They are put in the worst situation imaginable, where they could have a guy who they could get absolutely literally nothing for, or they could at least get something in return for him. And here's the other thing is, every day that Deshaun Watson waits, that price tag goes down, right? Like the longer that he sits out, I think that price tag gets lower.
Does it though? Let me just play devil's advocate for a second. Like, the push comes to shove, he stays. He's the quarterback of the Texans for this season, and he's not going to take another snap with them. But let's just say he just waits this year out. Well, you trade him in the offseason. The guy did sign a contract extension with you guys, remember? So they do still have his rights for, I believe, the next 4 years. So there's we know how the NFL works, guys, right? Like it's all about, all right, obviously if you want teams to buy high now, then yeah, the best time to trade him, if you're going to trade him this year, is right now, is to trade him now before everything, takes place. But the fact of the matter is, if let's say they don't trade him now, the offseason, it's weird. It's like if you ever played 2K or Madden, it's like everything resets itself in the offseason. Everything resets itself in the offseason, and that value that he once had will be right back there again. It will be. With even less, because now you don't have to worry about him being suspended or whatever the situation is, because questions got answered. But
I agree to an extent. You lose every year that you wait, you lose a year out of his contract, which is tough too. It depends on what price tag you want him at, but at the same time, like,
well, not necessarily, because if he takes the Le'Veon Bell approach and he sits out this year, he still has to play a full season. This year gets voided essentially, and it basically just carries over to next season.
Fair. Either way, if I'm the Texans, you're in a full rebuild. Even if you have Deshaun Watson, what is you have the worst roster in recent memory in football. I think their roster, like player for player, might be worse than that 0-16 Browns team. I think that Browns team had at least more pieces than what this Texans roster has without Deshaun Watson. So we'll see. They need the Texans. I'm sorry, Texans fans, you're in a tough spot.
Then they traded away Randall Cobb today. Moving into that, actually, let's transition into that. Randall Cobb traded to the Green Bay Packers today. Is our last topic of the day, guys. Randall Cobb traded to the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, he's back. He's back. As you guys saw, the title of the show is not The Last Dance, as everyone's been saying. They're not quite there just yet. They haven't won multiple championships, and I'm not about to make it seem like this is like a Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, Bulls, Chicago Bulls type thing. It's not. It's just one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time and a good team around him, essentially. But, I think we're making a lot of it. But it's the last. This name of this show is called The Last Stand. It's The Last Stand. It's Aaron Rodgers last year as a Green Bay Packer. You can read through the tea leaves. You can read through everything he's been saying. It's his final year as the Green Bay Packers starting quarterback.
Absolutely. And I love how you worded it, The Last Stand, because I just imagine Rodgers is like a gunslinging Texas Western guy with that. He's got the mustache, the whole 9 yards. So The Last Stand makes sense.
It's perfect for it, right? I personally loved the thumbnail. Him. It was beautifully done, I think. But at the end of the day, I listen. What do we think of this whole Aaron Rodgers situation? We know why he wants out. We understand. We understand that he's unhappy with basically his say in the organization. I mean, and the fact of the matter is, what player at this stage of their career, who's won MVPs, who's won Super Bowls, doesn't have this much say, right? It's almost sort of like the same thing that happened with Tom Brady, in a sense, to be honest with you, with Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. It's kind of a similar thing. But I think there was a different scenario there, which we'll talk about because there's a tape coming up. But what are our thoughts? Do you think Aaron Rodgers? I saw some people saying Aaron Rodgers is a diva, or Aaron Rodgers should just shut up and do his job. Alex, I want to start with you on this one, and everyone else can go after that. What are your thoughts on the situation, Alex? What are your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers wanting out of Green Bay and his unhappiness, his discontent for Mark Murphy and Brian Gutekunst? There we go. I knew Cody was going to be able to say it.
I'm really surprised that he didn't leave a lot earlier. If I was in his shoes, I would have started making some rumblings a lot earlier than he did. He said this has been going on for years. In my opinion, he is the number one best quarterback in the entire NFL. Better than Patrick Mahomes. I think he's that guy. I think Aaron Rodgers. I think he's the best quarterback in the entire NFL. So he just came off the MVP season. Why are the Packers making this difficult? You have it served to you on a platter. Just do what the man wants. He's not even asking for that much. It's not like he's saying, I want to be the GM, I want to call the shots. He's just asking to have a couple conversations with him about things. Maybe call him before you draft a first-round quarterback after he's been constantly through many media outlets saying he would like a weapon because he didn't have one. And then you go into training camp and you cut his second favorite receiver. That's just ridiculous.
It's not that bold. It's not that bold. Let's not.
The Green Bay Packers, to me, look like the worst organization in the NFL right now. I know they are not a bad team.
The Texans still exist.
Well, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. I just X them from my mind. They're just a given. But I mean, the Green Bay Packers are in shambles. It's just ridiculous. How do you not lock up your top guys? And now you have Devontae Adams. He's the best wide receiver in the league, in my opinion, as well. Maybe he's not, but you still, even if a player is not the best in the league, once it's time for their contract, if they're elite, they just get paid the most. That's the way it works. That's why they're constantly beating each other. One player gets paid the most. They reset the market. So why are you not paying Devontae Adams what he wants? He just wants to be paid like the highest paid wide receiver in the league. You go ahead and lock him up. Tell Rodgers, okay, we'll have conversations with you before we cut these guys that you are good friends with, that you think add a lot to the team. He literally, Aaron Rodgers said today he wanted to be help recruit players to the team, and Green Bay kind of told him to shut up about that. Genuinely don't.
Alex, sorry to cut you off. It's about, and I'll tell you this, it's about the bosses making sure that he knows he's still an employee.
Well, that boss is an idiot. Like, come on. Like, he's an employee, but that employee is the reason you're where you are right now. It's not. There's literally no other reason. Aaron Rodgers carried that franchise on his back.
Well, let's be real. They've had it good for so many years. They went from I don't know who was
Brett Favre to
Favre.
Even before Favre, who was the quarterback there?
Oh, yeah. Now you're talking about before I was born.
Was it? No, that's fine. I'm pretty sure they've had 3 franchise quarterbacks back to back.
Bart
Would have been Bart Starr, right?
A while ago.
That's what I was thinking about. I don't know what exactly time period that was. So.
I want to know who the quarterback was between the. Regardless, though, we'll figure that out.
Overall, I've been talking for a while.
No, it's fine. They've had it good.
It's just ridiculous. Like it's so stupid that the ownership of the Green Bay Packers, the guys in the organization, have such a they're power hungry so much to where they put down the employees that put them where they are.
I want to touch. Can you touch on that, Cody, real quickly? That take Nader made. I want to touch on that. I don't know if you're okay with that, but I want to touch on that. I really want to.
I understand why Nader thinks it's bold if you think that Mahomes is the best quarterback in football. But if you're going to make an argument that anybody is up there, it's got to be Rodgers. Like, say what you want about Brady, but Brady has some of the best weapons in football right now. One of the better minds in a phenomenal offensive line. Like the pieces are there for Brady to exceed expectations, and Rodgers has carried that Packers team. I would argue that he's top 2. So if you're going to have that conversation, I don't think it's a bold take to say that Aaron Rodgers is better than Patrick Mahomes. And I understand why people are so high on Mahomes. He has had some of the best seasons in recent memory, but do keep in mind that like Aaron Rodgers has had this sustained success for 17 years. And that doesn't happen by accident. So
Cody, what do you consider like sustained success? Like, because we're not talking, we're talking about right now. I don't give a damn what he did 15 years ago. I don't give a damn what he did 17 years ago. I'm talking about right now. I agree that it's the same conversation, but I think Patrick Mahomes is better. I think Patrick Mahomes is better than Aaron Rodgers right now. And it's not bold, but I think it's wrong. It's not bold to say it, though.
Yeah,
here's what I'm saying.
Here's what I'm going to say. Like, it's close.
Here's what I'm going to say. I can't believe I have to say this. Okay. Aaron Rodgers has dealt with some pretty bad coaching through his tenure in Green Bay. Let's start there. He's dealt with some pretty bad coaching. He's dealt with lackluster receivers. I mean, sure, he had Devontae Adams, he had Randall Cobb, but also made a lot of guys. He got throwing to guys like Valdez Scantling and I know he was upset about Jake Camaro being released, but Jake Camaro, Jordy Nelson was good. Aaron Rodgers made a lot. You know, you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers is he plays without outside of a system," because he has to, in a sense, because his guys aren't as great at getting open and things of that nature. Let's consider situations, because if we're talking about the great, if we're talking about situations, we're talking about who's the best quarterback in the league. It's definitely Aaron Rodgers, considering the situation he's in, considering his ability to read NFL defenses and pre-diagnose things. Patrick Mahomes is literally with one of the best offensive play callers in NFL history, in Andy Reid. He is in a fan, and it's a fact. He's had guys like you said no.
No, I'm agreeing. I'm agreeing.
He's led a ton of guys to very good years. Donovan McNabb being one of them. He even had Matt Moore playing capable, Chad Henne playing capable. Look at the situation when we're talking about these two things, right? The Kansas City Chiefs offense and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and blah, 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 blah. What I'm saying is that system, even Patrick Mahomes credited a lot of his success to Andy Reid. He even said he didn't even know how to read NFL defenses up until literally, he said last year. He just started processing things. But everything in Andy Reid's system, everything is slowed down. And people may not understand this from a football standpoint, but I've actually coached football. But the ideal is when you're able to slow things down for a quarterback and make their job easier and make their processing easier, it's the same thing that Sean McVay was doing for Jared Goff. And it's the same thing. I'm not saying it's easier for Patrick Mahomes to look better than Jared Goff because Patrick Mahomes is better than Jared Goff. He has more talent in his arms than Jared Goff. He can extend a pocket better than Jared Goff and do things of that nature. But for Patrick Mahomes to come out and say he's just now starting to understand how to read NFL defenses, he literally said that in an interview. he's doing it based off of pure talent and Andy Reid and that coaching staff and Eric Bieniemy dumbing things down and making it simple for him because he has a bunch of guys that play very well within the system. So when we say Aaron Rodgers, we have to be very careful. That is the definition of recency bias. Aaron Rodgers has been playing at a high level for a long time. Yeah. He's consistently done it, and he has made guys like Mike McCarthy look like a very good coaches. He and people nailed me, and I said we still don't know how good of a coach what's his name is
Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur is. We don't know. He's playing with one of the best quarterbacks of all. Aaron Rodgers make a lot of guys look good. A lot of coaches look good. So, in my opinion, that's why Aaron Rodgers is the best. And I think that's why Aaron Rodgers, when he did the interview with Pat McAfee a few months ago, he laughed. He said, even the no-look pass thing. Do you guys remember when Aaron Rodgers first introduced the no-look pass to the league before Patrick Mahomes was even in the NFL? And it just like got swept under the rug, and people are like, "Oh, it's the first time we're seeing Aaron Rodgers has been doing these things." I understand he's the nice new shiny toy, and everyone wants to just point to that. But luckily, I have a memory. Luckily, I've been watching football for a long time. Luckily, I've been studying this game for a long time. Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback, hands down, from a processing standpoint, making guys look good. He's one of the best quarterbacks that I have ever seen. Now, when Patrick Mahomes continuously puts it all together, and gets down with the processing, but because those are things that I've realized about Patrick Mahomes. You start to see the game slow down a little bit for him. But there was a reason why he had to run around and, evade pressure and stuff like that and extend plays and throw guys and throw to guys, once they broke off coverage and stuff like that. He isn't there yet, but he has the potential to be there is pretty much what I'm getting at.
So where I'm confused is you're saying I don't think it's definitive. I think they're in the same tier. And where I'm a little concerned is you're talking about Patrick Mahomes' situation. Let's talk about Aaron Rodgers' situation. Who has a top 5 running offense in the league? The Packers do. You can say whatever the hell you want to say about Matt LaFleur being no one knows what he is. He's a question mark. Well, the past 2 years, their run game has been top 5 in the league. What is the first thing they do when the game starts? They run the ball. Aaron Jones has been a top 10 running back the past 2 years because of that offensive line, because of that system, and Aaron Rodgers has that to go off of. Aaron Rodgers is one of the best play action quarterbacks in the league. Yes, but you need a run game to do that too, right? It all starts with the run. Their entire offense starts with the run game. And let's talk about the NFC Conference Championship, right? Tom Brady, the guy I love so much. In the second half, threw 3 interceptions. And then what did Aaron Rodgers not do? He couldn't capitalize. And I'm not saying that, Patrick Mahomes would have been any better, but we have to criticize Aaron Rodgers where he comes up short. That game was not solely on him because Kevin King, we all saw that defense did falter. But I don't know. Everything Patrick Mahomes has stepped up every single test. And obviously this year we saw his offensive line got absolutely decimated. And that Bucs defensive line took advantage of him. I just can't definitively put Aaron Rodgers over Patrick Mahomes, the guy who just won a Super Bowl last year. I can't.
I mean, I understand that, but you're also talking about the guy who won MVP last year. And I understand you bring running backs into it and that Aaron Jones has been great. Yeah, he's been good. But there have been running backs on that grid. Like, there was a while where the Green Bay lead running back was Eddie Lacy. All right. Cheeseburger Eddie was the starting running back for the Green Bay Packers for a while. All right. Like, this isn't, and you know why he was effective? Because he was running against a 6-man box, because that's what you have to do in order to defend Aaron Rodgers. I understand that, like, the running backs have exceeded expectations in recent years, but you have to you can't stack the box against one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever throw a pigskin. And it just is what it is.
Cody, here's the funny thing, right? I remember when Matt LaFleur first took over as the quarterback. First took over as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers. Remember that first game they were going against the Chicago Bears?
And they came back.
They came back. Do you know what they said they did? You know what Aaron Rodgers said they did during that press conference? He said he let me play ball. He let me be myself. He was trying to get Aaron Rodgers to play within that system, but it wasn't working. They threw it out. And Aaron Rodgers literally started audibling and making plays and playing backyard football.
Is that not what Patrick Mahomes does? Is that not the same thing that Patrick Mahomes does?
It's not. Okay. And that's why he literally said Andy Reid, and that's why he said Andy Reid was a big credit to his success.
Yeah, but how is that? He does play backyard football. He does go out of the pocket way more than Aaron Rodgers does, and that's an actual fact. Patrick Mahomes, a lot of his yards are off of broken plays. Have we not seen that? That's where Tyreek Hill thrives. That's where McCole Hardman thrives. That's where Sammy Watkins thrives. Let's not talk about McCole Hardman.
But let's also talk about what happens before the play. all the different motions that Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy have going on before the play.
Yeah. So, and let's actually talk about this.
You pointed and you talked about you. You know what Eddie Lacy slanted. You absolutely you pointed out the fact that Green Bay has a running game. This is the first time Aaron Rodgers had an actual consistent running game his entire career, but he's still been playing. Well, can everybody agree, Andy Reid, that Aaron Rodgers has been playing as one of the best quarterbacks in the league for many years?
There was a season that the Packers' leading rusher was a wide receiver.
Right.
Wait, Malik. What point are you trying to make though? Patrick Mahomes has been he's been a top 2 quarterback since his MVP season.
The situation he's in.
And you're completely discrediting this offense.
I'm not discrediting him.
Yes, you are.
Discrediting him.
Yes, you are.
What do you mean? I was the first person to say Andy Reid is one of the best play callers.
Not Andy Reid. Not Andy Reid. I'm not talking about Andy Reid. I'm talking about Matt LaFleur. I'm talking about Matt LaFleur.
Exactly what I said. They tried to make Aaron Rodgers play within the Matt LaFleur system. It didn't work. They threw it out and they went back to playing backyard ball. The one thing that
what do you consider backyard ball? What do you consider backyard ball?
Aaron Rodgers has total control over the Green Bay Packers.
But that's not backyard ball.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
not.
Yes,
it's
not is. Backyard ball.
Throwing up the plays. It's him making audibles. It's him making checks. The only thing that Matt LaFleur does, since you want to debate me, the only thing that Matt LaFleur does is he literally has full control over that running game. But let's talk about it. You want to point out the fact that Aaron Rodgers has a running game. This is the first time in his career he's had a running game.
And let's talk about it right now. Patrick Mahomes doesn't have a running game. Does he have a running game?
Whoa.
People who don't understand football. But
Damian Williams dominated in that playoff stretch when Patrick Mahomes won the Super Bowl. He honestly should have been Super Bowl MVP during that Super Bowl. And then his first year, he had Kareem Hunt dominate.
Cody, when you have guys like Tyreek Hill who run motions out of the backfield, who you can just throw jet sweeps to, Daniel, knock, Earth to Daniel, knock. That's called having a running game. That's a running game.
So you're talking about motions.
Those little jet sweeps. Yes. Those little jet sweeps that you do, those little screen passes that they do, the little check downs that they do. Yeah. Daniel, that's considered a long extended, that's literally an extended version of a running game. Throwing short passes is an extended of a running game. The motions that they do with Tyreek Hill out of the backfield. What's the other fast guy that they got? The other dude.
McCall Hardman, Sammy Watkins.
Those are not Sammy. McCall Hardman and Tyreek Hill. Those are also extensions of the running game. Those are also extensions. It's literally just long handoffs. That's the point I'm trying to make with you. So you're saying he doesn't have a running game, but they do have a running game because you have to worry about McCall Hardman and Tyreek Hill out of the backfield. You have to worry about those checkdowns. You have to worry about those things. So what are you talking about? Those are little extended handoffs. When you have a dynamic receiver like Tyreek Hill who can catch the pass behind the line of scrimmage and take it the full version. What is that, Daniel? Is that a long pass?
But the point is still the point you're trying to make.
Answer that. What is
what?
That? What is that?
It's a run game. It's a run game. And let me ask you a question.
Why would you fix your No. Why would you fix your mouth to just say that the Chiefs don't have a running game?
Well, because listen, what I'm going to ask you.
No. Answer that question. Answer that question for me. So why would you fix your mouth to say the Kansas City Chiefs don't have a running game?
Because listen.
So why did you just say that?
Let me ask you a question.
Answer my question. So why did you just say that?
Because they don't have a top 15 run game in the league. They don't. Their offense relies on the pass. Their offense relies on the pass.
Is it a threat? Is it still a threat?
Is it a threat for the Texans?
Is it a threat? Is it still a threat?
Is it a threat for the Texans?
No.
Yes. Every football team has a threat in the run game. So yes, Malik, it is a threat. The run game is a threat.
And it opens up everything for them. It's the reason why their passing game is it's the reason why their passing game is open.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question, Malik. Let me ask you this question, Malik. Let me ask you this question. This whole entire debate, this whole entire debate. Let me ask you a question, Malik. No, this you can't give the last word because I have a question.
We appreciate it. I'm not answering. You agree with me. I'm not interested in answering your question anymore.
Because you're about to agree with me. Who has the better run game? Who has the better run game?
Oh my God.
Who has the better run game?
But you're not understanding.
Let me ask you a question. Malik. I answered your question out of respect. If you're a respectful guy, you would answer mine. Who has a better run game?
I'm a disrespectful guy because I'm not answering your question.
Who has a better run game?
The point that I'm making.
I'm asking a very simple question.
The point that I'm making, Alex and Cody. The point that I'm making is right. It doesn't matter whose goddamn run game is dominant. That's not the point that I'm making. It's the fact of the threat.
How does it not matter?
Are you more worried about Tyreek Hill coming out of the backfield on a jet sweep or a check pass or McCall Hardman on a
that happens like twice a game?
No, it does not.
For Tyreek Hill, yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
How many
Yes,
times
it
do they
does.
have him motion?
He
How
gets
many
about
times do they have
7
him motion?
receptions per game.
That's
He gets
not what
about.
I'm asking, Daniel. That you're worried about the final result. You're worried about the final result. I'm talking about the illusion of the running game. That's why they're dominant. That's why they're dominant. So it does. I understand what you're
That's
saying.
not why they're
That
dominant.
is
That's
why
not
they're
the
dominant.
sole reason.
No, that's not the sole reason, Daniel. Since you want to nitpick, it's not the sole reason.
It's not.
The argument that you're making is who has the better run game. The Packers have the
It
better run.
is.
The Packers have the better run game. But what the whole argument is, we're talking about who's the better quarterback. What I'm saying is because the Kansas City Chiefs have a Tyreek Hill, have a McCall Hardman, all coming out of the backfield, it's more dynamic. It's scarier. You can stack the box.
Yeah, that's fair.
You can stack the box for an Aaron Jones. You can't stack the box for a Tyreek Hill, for a McCall Hardman. You can't do that.
That's fair.
Even those little short slants. Yeah, it's fair. I understand it's fair.
That's
why I'm saying it. That's why.
Yeah, but I'm not judging it. But just because a guy has better weapons around him.
So you're literally talking about Daniel. You're literally talking about who has a better run game. I'm agreeing with you. The Packers do, but what I'm saying is because of the threat of the Kansas City Chiefs offense as a whole.
Yes, I agree.
In terms of Tyreek Hill coming out of backfield, in terms of McCall Hardman coming out of backfield, and let's not also forget about Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Patrick Mahomes' ability to run the ball. These are all things that attribute to their successful passing game.
I agree.
That's what I'm trying to say. Okay, so we agree.
I agree.
Listen, guys.
Yeah,
we
literally agreed.
We didn't agree. But at the end of the day,
you just said we agreed. You just said we agreed.
I'm happy. I'm happy.
We agreed.
More than
how it
anything.
works nowadays.
The guy's an idiot. He literally just came on and tried to argue a deadbeat point that I was trying that we were trying to establish.
A deadbeat point?
Yes, because
Aaron Rodgers is not a deadbeat the number one quarterback over.
Aaron Rodgers nobody ever said Aaron Rodgers is a deadbeat GOAT. Nobody said that.
No, the number one quarterback. You said that's a deadbeat point. It's not a deadbeat point.
Point was a deadbeat point because you were trying to talk about the final results, the statistics.
I was trying to talk about the run game.
Of the running game.
And then you
that's not what I was
twisted
talking about.
everything
and
else.
that's not what we were talking about. But that's not what we were talking about.
Regardless, I think we are all excited to see Aaron Rodgers back.
Hold on, Cody. But we appreciate you, Danny, for joining the argument. We appreciate it. Thank you. Anyway, so guys,
gives him a participation trophy on the way out.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us on the TWSN Game Changer show every single Wednesday night. Greatly appreciated. Make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. Download the TWSN mobile app. You know, we're here each and every single Wednesday. You can join us. Make sure you follow us all on our social media channels. And like I said, make sure you also check out that awesome article that Matt Levine wrote about, you know, players' mental health and things of that nature. Because I think in order for you to understand what Simone Biles is going through, like we talked about earlier in the show, I think that gives a great insight on things. And for those of us who are just saying, oh, they're athletes supposed to just get over it, read that article. It's an in-depth piece in it. He does a really, really good job breaking it down and actually going in depth. And, you know, player mental health is nothing to be played with. And it's something that I think a lot of players deal with and stuff like that, especially in today's day and age and today's era. So make sure you guys definitely check that out. But other than that, guys, you can catch us here each and every single Wednesday night. We'll be back next week. I may not be here next week, but we'll see. But you'll definitely see the crew back here. We're excited that football is back. We're excited to be talking football with you guys. But until next week, guys, the show goes on. We'll see you then.
The marathon continues. The Mamba mentality has left a mark. Shout out to the NBA legend, Kobe, and your daughter, Gigi. From Tom Brady to Drew Bledsoe. Rain, sleet, or snow, I grind. I am clutch. I am the difference maker.